Hello, Ian Brooks here, massage therapist and personal trainer, talking about approaching a lat stretch. The lats, or the latissimus dorsi, run from the front of the shoulder back, attaching on the lower ribs, all of this fascia, side back of the pelvic crest, and up to the mid-back along the spine. So lots of areas to work with in terms of movements it could help with that we can open. Reaching overhead, kind of the most basic way to get some elongation there. But let's work with some different ways of opening that. It's involved in so much statically in a postural sense as well as dynamically to create movement and set up for movement. So even into the breath system. So let's look at some variations. It attaches here, so it's going to help with internal rotation of the humerus, depression of the humerus, or the scapula, retraction of the scapula. So coming up with the shoulder blade and forward already stretches the lat, kind of separating it from the shoulder. How it connects down here and on the side, it can definitely help with that side bending. So side bending to the opposite side assists opening there. And with the pelvis, it will help hold that side of the pelvis up. So letting that drop down or further than level can be helpful too. Child pose is one of my favorite ways to approach this. You're out of that standing upright posture, and the way this connects into the core fascial systems of stability, it's night and day the differences of how far you can get when you're standing or balancing, like if you have your hand on a Bosu ball, or much more so something more unstable. It engages the stabilizers and thus makes it more difficult to relax. So think about that in terms of what you're trying to do with your stretching. A lot of different approaches to stretching, a lot of reasons to stretch. So maximal relaxation is not actually always what you're going for, but that's kind of what we're looking at here. So I would start in a child pose. Great thing about the child pose, you get the low back opening, you get the shoulder blade, gravity pulling it down, naturally kind of comes forward there. So we've already gotten some stretch through the lats. The way they connect on the surface, it seems like they can almost connect to each other, one side to the other. So getting both arms at once versus one arm at a time, different openings, different effects. But we'll start here looking at some variations. So child pose, you can reach the shoulder blades forward more. To get more on the humerus, you could turn the hands up. You can emphasize bringing the shoulder blade down, the protraction of the shoulder blade towards the floor. One of my favorites, adding the side bend. You can do that by kicking, kind of rotating on the opposite knee, kicking that hip back and then sinking down. You can walk the hands to the side. You can do both. With the lats attaching here and running back, they also rotate towards that same side, what we'd call in the industry ipsilateral rotation, if you like big fancy words like I do sometimes. To engage that, you can rotate, reach under. I like to pin the hand with my non-stretching hand so I can take the weight off this arm. So if I was going to try to put as much of this together as I can, start with the shoulder blade, get that opened up, get the pelvis and torso in line, and then reach the arm. So setting the pelvis back, getting my core turned slightly in that side bending away from the lat I'm stretching, getting the shoulder blade up and forward, laying the hand down supinated, pinning it, and leaning down into that stretch. Once you have the basic ideas, adding little tweaks. Sometimes one part's too much. The body has to grip to be able to do it. Take that part out, do the part you can relax into, and work towards more if you want to go that far. You can target the humerus more. You could do this in a lot of ways for different areas. But if you were to just come straight at it, get that shoulder blade involved, down and forward, or protracted and elevated, but relative to the ground, down and forward. And